Hello fellow fraggers, my name is Frag himself, and today I will talk about the two best cards you can put in your deck to have an ideal defense. Obviously, the card you should put in your deck depend on level, on your playstyle, and on the card you're good at. So at the end of the day, this may not be the best cards for you. But I found that for me, this is the two cards that I prefer for my defense. Of course, there are tons of good defensive cards in Frag right now. Queen Unicorn, the Boss, Sombrero, Soldatron, Sogeki, Shinobi, Medusa, Duncan, and Lily are all good defensive cards. But Marco Pollo and Scrapper are my favorite cards to put in my deck for solid and adaptable defense. This is a combo that I've been running in 2v2 mode, in Street Frag, and in normal mode. And it's the defensive team I recommend you to put in your deck, or at least to try out. By the way, if you haven't already, you can go and check my old Build a Deck guide after this video to give you some more tips to build a solid deck. But don't forget that the defense you will put in your deck is usually not the cards that you will be playing for most of the game. You will need a good main to play in your deck as well, but this video is strictly based on this defensive duo. I split the video into 3 parts, one part for each card, and the last one about how good they work together to make an impenetrable combo. Timestamps are in the description, and let's go! Of course, defensive cards can fill in lots of roles. There are Sniper, like Zap Girl or Longshot, a Camp Counter, like Soldatron or Shinobi, and whatever the hell Sombrero is. There's also Defender, which might be confusing, but I call Defender whoever is able to get lots of frag in their camp in close ranges, and can take care of a push as well. And this goes with AI as well. Sogeki, which is very good at controlling the center with AI and as a main, is not a good defender, as she sucks in close range. She can't take a hit, and her damage outside of her ultimate ability is worthless. Now that you understand what I mean by defender, you will know what I mean when I say Marco Pollo is the best defender as a main. He is, in my opinion, the best card to prevent other cards from going to your bunkers. Even cards like Archon or Stella won't be as good to prevent cards from reaching your bunkers. Obviously, Marco doesn't have a very good speed and range, which is not that important in the defense, but it makes him not so good as a main. He will likely not going to be able to push well, or to control the whole map if you try. Not to say it's impossible, it's just harder. But why is he such a good defender? It's mostly due to his ultimate ability, which gives him the ability to frag any card somewhat close to him whenever you want. He just throws a spaghetti ball that deals an insane amount of damage, that hits sometimes many cards at once, gives knockback and stuns enemies, which lets you continue to use your main fire on them while they are getting stunned. It's one of the best ultimate abilities in the game, and it has a very low cooldown, so you can use it consistently. It's hard to miss, and it's got good range. It takes no time to use, so it makes it super easy to switch to Marco Pollo when you're pushing, use your ultimate ability super quickly, and then switch back to offense unnoticed and having taken care of a push. Obviously though, you will probably not play Marco Pollo during the whole game. For 90% of the time, for me at least, Marco is controlled by AI. That's why whenever you want to pick a defensive card, it's important to look at their AI and how reliable they are. And Marco Pollo is very good. In my opinion, it's one of the best AIs in the game for a defender, second only to Queen Unicorn and maybe the Boss. And the reason why is because he's pretty good at using his ultimate ability and his main fire. He's not amazing at it, like most AIs of course, but he's not too bad. Considering he uses his ultimate ability maybe 50% of the time, the reason why I prefer him over Queen Unicorn and the Boss, which can do a similar job, is because of his huge amount of damage. Marco has considerably better amounts of damage with both his main fire and his ultimate ability. He also has the explosive factor of dealing a huge amount of damage at once, which lets you switch to defense and back super quickly. That being said, Boss or Queen Unicorn can definitely take his place in this combo. They just might not perform as well. So I've been saying for the longest time that I like Scrapper. If you've been following me for a while, you know why. He just does something no other defender does. He heals bunkers. There's really no comparison for Scrapper, so it should make his presence in the game even more felt, right? I mean, can you imagine how much Queen Unicorn would be played without Boss and Marco Pollo? But no. For some reason, he's maybe in 10% of the decks I play against. Because he's in this video, you can guess it's not because he's underused that he is not a good card. First of all, I have to mention that Scrapper is not really a good main. Much like Marco Pollo, he's a little bit too slow to make it to the offense and he doesn't really have the damage to make up for it. On the contrary of Marco Pollo though, he's much better in long ranges and Marco is kind of a short range guy. So he's also not too good to switch to if you want to go and defend. He's kind of your last case scenario when you want to defend. He can get rid of a few cards because he's got pretty good splash damage and his main fire is pretty consistent, but don't expect to win 1v1 with him. Obviously, in 1v1 scenarios, his ultimate ability is absolutely useless, which just leaves him with a decent main fire when you try to play him. So if he is not too good if you want to play him, he has to be amazing with AI, right? Exactly. A few months ago, he received a great buff that gave him the ability to heal bunkers from a longer distance and through walls. This buff fit perfectly with the abilities of his AI. It's programmed to use it whenever he can. And since he now always stays in the range for his ability to work on his bunkers, all you need is for a bunker to not be full for him to repair it. His ability will repair 30% of your bunkers every 12 seconds or so. This means a few things. If your bunker has taken damage, Scrapper will heal it 100% of the time. This means that your opponent has to completely destroy a bunker to get rid of it. If they don't, the damage they will have dealt will be rendered useless after maybe 30 seconds, because Scrapper will repair it. Not to mention, if your Scrapper has repaired all the bunkers, he will store his ultimate ability and use it at the instant a bunker isn't full again, aka someone's attacking it. The attacking player will then have to stay on the bunker for a longer time, as the damage they will have dealt on the bunker in the first few seconds will have been repaired instantly by Scrapper. When you have Scrapper, you have much more freedom to take damage on your bunker, because you know you can tank it and repair it. However, it goes without saying that you have to play a little bit differently and be careful. You have to make sure as much as you can that your bunkers do not get destroyed completely. This may mean you have to play more defensively. If your bunker is left at 1 HP after a push, it's fine, but one more and it's gone. So play in according to that. You also have to protect Scrapper a little bit. If you see that he's being fragged, turn the defensive red lights on. Your bunkers are very vulnerable. Overall though, Scrapper's AI makes it very hard for your opponent to destroy your bunker, granted you play properly. His AI is also a decent defender, which means he will give you some frags in the game just with his AI. That's still not his role though. He gives you the ability to tank bunker damage without losing points in your game and forces your opponent to play differently. But he will definitely help you out a little bit in the defense just by fragging opponents as well. So, we've established that they are both good defensive cards. But what about together? What makes them such a good team together? Quickly said, it's because they are complementary of each other. One's weaknesses tends to be countered with the other. For defense to be good, of course, they need to protect your bunker and towers from taking damage. So since Marco Pollo can't always protect the bunkers from taking damage, as the push may happen on both sides at the same time, or his AI is just not 100% consistent at all times, this weakness of sorts is fixed by Scrapper's ability of healing bunkers, because you will be able to take care of one side with Marco Pollo, and switch to the other side and frag all of the offense hopefully before any of the bunkers are destroyed. Also, it's not the end of the world if someone sneaks into your offense and gets damage on your bunkers, even if you haven't noticed it, because you will be able to react to it without any problems. Switch to Marco Pollo, destroy all the offense, and your Scrapper will repair your base, and you will not have lost any points in the game, which is huge. They also work together in range. Scrapper tends to frag enemies in long range, and Marco is better in the close range. Finally, Scrapper needs to be on the field as much as possible to repair bunkers. This means that it's a big deal when he dies, and you should make sure he doesn't. Fortunately, Marco is an amazing defender and his AI does a good job at making sure your Scrapper will stay safe and sound from the mean Lucha and Ronin. We can say that this duo is the brain and brawn of Frag. Scrapper may not be the strongest slayer, but he fills in an important role in the meta and in my deck. However, strength is also very important to keep the enemies in the respawn waiting room, so this is why we have a beefy boy in the duo as well. To conclude this video, I want to remind you as usual that this is my opinion. This is the two best defensive cards together for my playstyle, and it may not be the same for you again, but I still encourage you to try it. That being said, I hope you guys liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one.